Growthpoint, the property giant, had published its first half numbers this afternoon, and I'm joined in studio by the company CEO Norbert Sasse. Good to have you as always, and congratulations on the positive numbers you published.
Thank you very much.
Let's touch on what made everyone nervous yesterday. Estienne de Klerk, managing director, everyone was slightly concerned that, hey, is this succession planning in the making here?
I think there is certainly an element of that, no question. But I think the truth behind it all is that the company has grown quite dramatically over the last couple of years, and we left Investec Group, if you want, back in 2007, and we put in place certain structures and an exco structure, and the company's probably 5 to 6 times the size. I think our total assets was about 15 billion at that time. Sure. After the AccuCap transaction, assets are going to be heading for sort of 100 billion, and it's time that we sort of re-looked at our internal structures, our internal reporting lines, and how we manage the business. And in terms of creating a bit of capacity, if nothing, just for myself to be able to think a little bit more strategically and do maybe extract myself a little bit from the detail. We decided to appoint Estienne as managing director, and I think a combination therefore of some capacity creation and succession planning. Yeah.
So at least you're sleeping better at night, a few more hours that you're able to squeeze in, but you're not going anywhere in the meantime, are you?
No, I'm not going anywhere in a hurry, that's for sure, no.
Fantastic. Let's touch on AccuCap, which definitely had a significant impact on your numbers, or is expected to continue to do so. What kind of value are you hoping to unlock there, and the return on the investment? Sure.
So I mean, it's a very good portfolio of retail and office properties. In the main, it's weighted obviously to the retail side. There's approximately 18 billion of assets, let's call it 11 billion of retail, and around number 7 billion of office. So it increases our overall weighting to the retail sector, probably takes our overall weighting up by about 5% in terms of our total South African asset mix. And retail is definitely, even though it's not as buoyant as it was a couple of years ago, more defensive, and over the long term produced and produces better returns than office and industrial, which are a little bit more volatile and is characterized by sort of boom and bust type cycles. So once we take control, if you want, of that portfolio, and we can integrate it into our own business model and systems, we think that there should be some opportunity to extract some value from that portfolio. It gives us more diversification, it gives us a more defensive portfolio, and over the long term, we think it's going to, it'll really boost the bottom line for Growthpoint.
With that retail space and the exposure to AccuCap, how much of that was impacted by the Ellerines vacancies?
So the Growthpoint, we haven't had a great opportunity at this time to delve into the numbers on AccuCap. It's still subject to Competition Tribunal approval, which hopefully we'll get on the 11th of March. So it's pretty much hands off, on the portfolio. Our own portfolio, on the retail front, not a lot. I mean, the impact is probably less than 0.5% in terms of the overall space of we've got just short of 1 million square meters of retail space, and less than 0.5% of that is impacted by Ellerines. Where we have, however, felt a bigger knock is in our industrial portfolio, where we had 3 industrial warehouses that were exclusively let to Ellerines, and those are all vacant. Pretty much, they handed back the premises to us from, I think, as early as October, November last year. And it's a fairly tough market out there. We haven't been able to re-let them yet. A couple of them are under negotiation right now for re-let. Very confident. They're good properties. 2 of them are less than 3 years old, and so we're confident we'll re-let them, but there's going to be a bit of short-term pain on that.
We know the curatorship is still ongoing for Able. Are you very low on that list of people who are expected to get their money back on rentals that they might have fallen back on?
Yeah, so I mean, we're not really exposed to the Able side of things. It's pure Ellerines, and I think some of the feedback more recently from the business rescue practitioner was that you might expect, I don't know, 10 to 15 cents in the rand or something on your claim. So we're hopeful that we'll get a little bit back, but it'll be very small.
Let's touch on the electricity crisis in South Africa. We've heard of a lot of property developers adding alternative sources of energy as required by their tenants. Is this something that you're looking at working on?
Very much so. I think it's it's not just one single approach. It's a multifaceted approach. We've got we were one of the early adopters, I think, of sustainability and sustainability practices in the industry. We're a big sponsor of the Green Building Council of South Africa, and we've won a number of sustainability awards in terms of new design and new developments of new properties. In fact, last year we won an international award. It was the internationally recognized as the best lighting project internationally. We retrofitted all of our office properties with energy efficient lighting. And it's basically a saving model with our tenants. So whatever we save, we share some of that saving with our tenants. Obviously, there's a cost that we incur to make all of these changes. We've got photovoltaic solar plants on some of the rooftops of some of our buildings. We were, I think, one of the first to develop one down in Durban, in Umhlanga. We're doing that at some of our shopping centres. So it's a multifaceted approach. We've in fact appointed one individual in particular who's got a doctorate in in sustainability and sustainability practice. So it's very high up on our agenda. We're spending quite a bit of time and effort and money on it.
How much money?
And it runs into probably close on 100 into the hundreds of millions over the next couple of years. So and to be honest with you, it's not the technology is not quite there yet, whereby you can efficiently replace electricity. But we've got we do have generators in many of our buildings. It's just become an imperative. Our tenants are demanding it from us.
So we've got quite a way to go. Just to close off with very quickly, you've increased your investment as well in your Australian assets. How's that progressing so far?
It's been the single best investment I think that we've ever made. I think mainly due to timing. We went in there in early to mid 2009 when the Australian listed property market had collapsed literally by 80% from peak to trough. It's grown from strength to strength. When we recapitalized the business, it had assets of about $650 million. Today it's got assets of $2.2 billion. We've grown it. We think we still like the story. There's still some legs in it, and we're going to continue to support it for a number of years to come.
Wishing you all the best down under and locally as well. That was Norbert Sasse. He's the Chief Executive of Growthpoint.